Welcome to the Turn Academy. Enjoy the videos from this week's lessons. Have a great week. See you next week. This golfer has a tendency to lift the club off the ground and get pretty steep. I kind of teased her and said it looks like she's chopping wood. Let's watch this swing in slow motion. Straight up. Very steep. That's what you call a two-plane swing. A two-plane setup. She made really good impact. Let's talk a little bit about what she changed and what she still has to change. Her issue has always been, let's go ahead and draw our, let's do it in white. She's wearing white. Let's draw our swing plane in nice white color. She's always had a tendency to take the club back pretty high above the swing plane. You'll see here that she gets it pretty lifted up right here. It's pretty windy, that's why it's bouncing around. Right now the club should be parallel to the swing plane. In other words, the club shaft should be back about like at that angle right there. What she's done really, really well, though, is not overbend the right arm. She used to lose all the width in her swing where the hands would almost be touching that trail shoulder. She didn't do that. She kept the width about her, I call it. And then she dives back down. That's okay. But she's going to come down steep because there's no way to get the club back inside the line from there. But she does manage to get back pretty close to where she was at impact. Left arm's higher than the right arm. She's going to make good contact, and she's going to turn right through it. Now, she's a new golfer, so she's not using much lower body at all, but she got a little bit in. She did a really good job on creating the triangle. That's the triangle that the two arms and the shoulders make. I think she's made some real improvement today. Good job. We have this golfer working on a live board that also shows you where you're making impact on the ground and where the face or the club head is going through impact. This golfer has a tendency to hit the ball thin and come from the outside. And to come from the outside, that simply means that on the way down, instead of swinging under the imaginary table, he's swinging into the top of the imaginary table. And what I'll just do is I'll draw another white line in. I talk about this a lot. It's the table you got to swing under, and it sits right about there. You can do it by having somebody hold a swim noodle out there, any number of ways, but visualizing it sometimes works. We're going to watch this golfer take the club back underneath the red line, which is all right, gets back to the swing plane line, which is good, and then he's going to dive out over the top and slam the club head right into the top of the table. Probably pretty far out, almost out in the middle of the table. You can see he's out past the golf ball now. So he can't come from the inside. He's coming from over the top of the red line. He's leading with the hosel. He's going to hit the ball on the hosel and get kind of a weak, low shot. Now we're going to go back to just about the impact position, and you're going to see how far off the impact board he is. You're going to notice the shaft is wide open. It's coming into impact, and it never even hits the board. Never even gets close. So he's topping the ball or hitting it thin. So people ask me all the time, how do I get the club coming from the inside? Most of that happens by utilizing the right elbow. We want the right elbow to come down in under the lead arm. That will automatically drop the club head back, the shaft back, and let you come from the inside. What he's going to do is he's very late in getting the left elbow under the right elbow. He doesn't do it till after impact, actually. See, it's above it, above it, above it, above it. Now there's impact. Now he's finally under it. It's too late. At this point right here, I should be able to see between his left arm and his right arm a small window. That window would be because this elbow is bent here down that shaft line, and then I can see through. So the question of how to do it, that's how you do it, what you have to do. Learning to do it is a matter of taking your time and practice, practice, practice. And a lot of that practice without a ball, even without a club. If you throw a ball underhand, sidearm, you're going to bring that elbow down. Here we have a very new golfer working really hard on getting a good posture and a good setup position and trying her best to stay relaxed. I'm going to play this. Not very relaxed, is it? So we'll back it up here a little bit and we'll watch How do I see that it's not relaxed? Well, if we blow it up here and look at the hand position, it's coming apart. She's not relaxed enough that the club can move in her fingers. It's not in the proper position. The elbows are separated. We need to have the elbows the same distance apart here as we do at setup. And then just let the club move at the end of it. It stays pretty fixed in our hands. And then we just let it swing. You can see right now that that club is actually wanting to pass her hands at this point, but she's not letting it. She's holding on a little bit. Never lets the club follow its natural momentum. We have to learn how to be more relaxed. It's almost better sometimes just to swing a rope and let the rope work and feel what it feels like. It's like cracking a whip. All right, here we have quite a few lines drawn in. The spine angle is the blue line running from his hip to his head. The swing plane is the one going from the head of the club out to his back. Got a line where his left knee is, a line where his right calf is, and a line where his butt is. Got a great setup. He's a very smooth, easy playing golfer. We're going to play it in slow motion. Pretty nice takeaway. Look at that, staying right on the plane line very nicely. Now stop right here. We can see that what he did here was he didn't allow himself to rotate his shoulders on the same line, and I'm going to draw that in red, the same line as the golf shaft. The shoulders are way up at that. That causes you to pull your butt away. You see it's moved away, and move the right leg out of position, and the left leg collapses forward to the golf ball. So he's lifted up and out of the position. You can see he's way up out of his spine tilt. It's nowhere near. He did not rotate on his spine. He actually rotated upwards. And he's going to continue on down. It's got a little over the top move. Not too bad. Probably could play that pretty good. And right on through to a pretty nice impact and a good shot. Everybody comes to me asking for consistency. And I talk about the consistency comes from a consistent movement that's sound, technically sound. He's got some athleticism, but his movements are kind of all over the place. You can see how far he's moved everything away from his spine tilt, and he does it pretty early. He never gets his butt out and up, as my grandpa used to tell me all the time. He stays on plane. That's the one good thing. And I think that's because he plays so smooth and so relaxed. We just get him to keep his spine tilt a little bit better and turn on those, turn his shoulders on that spine. I think he'll be a better golfer. What you're going to see here is something that's very common in young, newer golfers. And that's pivoting on the wrong foot. He's got himself a pretty good setup here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight where I think we should be looking, right there. So we're going to move that forward a little bit. He's pivoting inside, pulling away. See how he's pulling away? Now watch what happens as he goes forward. Instead of his weight shifting off that foot onto the lead foot, he's going to end up spinning backwards. If that heel is going backwards and you're spinning on that back foot, you can't be doing a really good job of driving off the back leg onto the front leg. Let's clear that out a little bit. You can see that where he was at setup, here's where he is at finish. Whoops, still got that in. Let's get rid of that. Let's go back to the line. Where he is at finish is tilted forward. He hasn't shifted anything forward. So let's back up a little bit to his setup position. Okay. Where we'd like to see him finish, and I'll draw that in as a green line. We'll go to green. Where we'd like to see him finish is there. So he's pivoted completely around his lead hip, lead leg, and ended up nice and straight up and down on that lead side. But what he does is he sways way off of it, and then he dives forward, and you can see he's actually shifted back off the line. So he's behind the line at impact, catching the ball really high on the face. And then he doesn't start moving forward. He's already hit the ball, so there has been no weight transfer, obviously, because now his weight's all on the backside. Then all of a sudden he's going to go up like that. That's understanding the finish you want to get to, but he needs to get this moving that way on the way through. Right knee is posted up. Notice the right foot is spun out, so he's spun out on his heel, and then he's going to continue right on walking through. lack of balance is because you're swinging too hard and out of good fundamental technique, or good mechanics as he calls it. Here's another one of the people that are Monormi fans and playing the single plane swing. His setup is just about perfect. Club shaft is running up to the lead armpit. He's facing the ball at setup. Got a good wide stance, looks balanced, knees are level. He's got a nice forward tilt to his belt. I'd like to see a little bit more tilt to his belt than that, so the front's more down to the golf ball. But let's just watch this in slow motion. You're going to see how accurate you can be when you face the ball at impact, a la Mo Norman. So let's go ahead and watch this in slow-mo. Folds a right arm, unfolds a right arm, faces the ball at impact. Pretty nice finish. Now, if he can just do that every time, he's going to be a really happy golfer. Here's another Mo Norman fan. Nice single plane setup. He's been able to do something over the last year that I wasn't sure he's going to be able to accomplish, in that he learned how to slow down and relax and not jerk the club around. What you're going to see is the classic fold the right arm on the way back, put the club on the plane line. The plane line is parallel to the white line. That's real good motion. He's going to bring the club down, get his trail elbow under the lead arm. See how that is? It's the elbow staying on the plane. You get to see the window through the setting where his club head is. He's going to extend his hands down at the golf ball, face the ball at impact, and hit a nice shot and finish in a good position. He worked a long time to develop that smooth, easy, even tempo and the relaxed grip. And being not a young man anymore, that's quite an accomplishment. You can see in his posture on the left how he's got a rounded back. His neck is bending forward. He's kind of in a jammed position there with his spine because he's not able to return comfortably back and through the spine. On the right side, what I gave him was a little drill to do in his setup where he gets his back in a nice straight line. Now, it's already straighter than it was on the left, but watch what he does after he does this little drill, which is take the club, hang it from the back of your head. See how far out from his butt that is? Then he's going to learn how to stand nice and straight, try to get that club back down to his butt, and then he's going to bend forward holding that club there. Now look how straight he gets. And he settles right into a position pretty naturally. Just unlocks the knees, gets himself into a pretty good spot. You can tell his head's up now. He's in an athletic position. If he was going to defend you in a basketball game, you'd have a tough time getting around him. Then we're going to get set up. We're going to lock the two swings together, and we'll play them in slow motion. As soon as I can find where he starts the backswing right there, we'll lock them together. We'll play the two swings in slow motion. Look how much easier the backswing is and the plane. Pretty good swing, huh? I didn't change any of his mechanics. He changed his setup. That should encourage a lot of you to work on getting to a good setup. It's going to make it smoother and easier and more comfortable. You're not going to have to fight the swing. I named my school the Turn Academy for a reason. What I like the golfers to do is swing the club by just rotating their shoulders around their spine, not by lifting the club off the ground with their hands. I'm not going to show this entire swing. What I want you to see is a great example of just using your arms and hands to lift the club off the ground. I'll draw the swing plane in because that's still important. And I'll play it in slow motion. Watch as she's going to lift that club straight up off the ground. Straight up. Everything's collapsing. Arms are flying out. And she drives back down to the ball and just tightens right up and has to stop. What we want to... This golfer has one of the flattest swings I've ever seen. But because she's so rhythmical and able to stay balanced, she actually gets away with it. It's a single plane swing in terms that it goes on the plane on the way back or just below it, and then stays right on that plane on the way through. See how it's still parallel, and then comes right back to the impact position. And we get to see that little window right there through impact. Does a good job, makes good contact, but very, very flat. But notice she's exiting on the same plane line that she swung on. I would like her to get the hands a little higher And in order to do that, she's got to drop her right shoulder down. And that means she's got to get her spine tilted more like that so that her shoulders swing on that plane. We've been working on this for a while. She does it, and then she doesn't do it. Things creep in and creep out of her swing. But she's got a great attitude. She keeps swinging, and she's playing so much better than she was before. I like to call this golfer Mr. Smooth. When he stays smooth and stays attached to the ground, he's down the middle, chipping a putt, and has a really good time golfing. What he has a tendency to do once in a while is bounce up and down. When he sits his posture like this, it's not so bad. As the belt line gets more and more flat, then he has a struggle of bouncing up and down. But what you're going to see here is a pretty easy, smooth swing. And I think most of us, if we just played within our balance, within our ability to just control our bodies, we're going to play better golf. Right on the plane, right back down to the plane, boom, boom, not a lot of fuss and motion. He's a good reminder to me of the Paul Simon song, One Trick Pony. I think it's wonderful. I really like what he's doing there. I like to call this golfer Mr. Smooth. When he stays smooth and stays attached to the ground, he's down the middle, chipping a putt, and has a really good time golfing. What he has a tendency to do once in a while is bounce up and down. When he sits his posture like this, it's not so bad. As the belt line gets more and more flat, then he has a struggle of bouncing up and down. But what you're going to see here is a pretty easy, smooth swing. And I think most of us, if we just played within our balance, within our ability to just control our bodies, we're going to play better golf. Right on the plane, right back down to the plane, boom, boom, not a lot of fuss and motion. He's a good reminder to me of the Paul Simon song, One Trick Pony. I think it's wonderful. I really like what he's doing there. We're going to go ahead and play the swing in regular motion. And at the end of the swing, you won't hear it, but she says, it's faded off. And we talked a little bit about what can cause that. It was actually a push fade. That means the face of the club was open at impact. But at a full speed swing, it's really hard to see she did anything wrong. You need to hear it there, didn't you? Well, one more time so you can spot what's going on. Almost everybody's going to talk about the step through, but there was a fellow named Gary Player that did that pretty good, and it worked for him. He did it because he wasn't as big as Jack and Arnie. So what's the issue? Well, if we back it up to just before the impact point, you're going to see what's going to open that club face. Good position right there, driving into the ground nicely. Now, right about here, you see the lead elbow now is starting to break. We haven't turned the back of the left hand at all towards the ground. The left elbow is not anywhere near the ground. The right elbow's in a pretty good position, but if she comes in right about here, she's going to start trying to throw the head of the club. You can see the torque she's putting on it now. So she's in a position where that club is wide open. You can see the face down there. It's wide open because the club right now, this arm right here, let me get a line for you here. This arm right here should be nice and straight, and the club shaft should still be back about here, and the back of that glove hand should be pointing to the ground so that she can get that nice torque and not block that ball way out open like that and push it out to the right, cut across it. Notice she's got no extension on her arms because somewhere in the swing, she quit driving the right knee to the left knee. That's this movement right here. That right knee goes to the left knee. So we talked about that. I had her do some upright baseball style swings where she could make the rotation a little easier. She was really good at doing that, and it made a difference in her swing. It's kind of amazing how little kinds of things that sneak in on us. People tell us the wrong solution, like you're lifting your head and all kinds of things. Really take the time to shoot a little video. Most of us carry a camera with us anymore. Just shoot a video with your camera, take a look at it, and try to analyze it. And if you can't figure it out, email it to me. I'll look at it for you.